Okay, let's dive right in. We've got a snapshot of recent events pulled from USA Today, dated Thursday, May 15th, 2025.
Right.
And our goal today, well, it's pretty simple. Just extract the core insights from these headlines. We're talking economy, trade, politics, social stuff, the markets. Give you the essentials.
Yeah, it's about seeing the bigger picture, isn't it? How these different news pieces kind of slot together, what they really mean for you.
Exactly. So let's start with the economy. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, he's
Yeah.
issued a serious warning about the debt ceiling.
Uh-huh. The borrowing limit.
Right, the legal limit on how much the government can borrow. He says we could hit it around August 2025. But the critical point, mid-July,
Hmm.
what are the real-world stakes here?
Well, if that ceiling isn't raised, it could, lead to some serious destabilization.
Wow.
The U.S. financial system.
Destabilization, like.
Think about Treasury bond auctions getting disrupted. Those are pretty fundamental globally. And potentially a hit to the nation's credit rating. This
Yeah.
isn't just abstract financial risk, I mean.
It sounds pretty concrete.
It could have very tangible consequences, yeah.
Okay. Wow. Now, shifting gears a bit, trade. President Trump announced a new baseline tariff, 10% on imports.
Right. A baseline.
But he did mention possible exemptions if other countries offer significant trade terms. So what's the underlying strategy?
Well, the aim seems pretty clear. Protect American industries, push for what they see as fairer trade.
Okay.
Historically, tariffs make imports more expensive, right?
Yep.
So you buy domestic. But
Got it.
it can also mean higher costs for businesses using imported parts
Mhm.
and maybe higher prices for, well, for consumers. Those significant terms will be really key to watch.
Interesting balance there. Okay, let's move to politics. President Trump appointed Jeanine Pirro
Ah, yes, the Fox News host, former prosecutor.
as interim U.S. Attorney for D.C.
Yeah.
That's definitely sparked some conversation. What's the main point people are discussing?
I think it really raises questions,
Mhm.
about the line between media and the judiciary. Having someone with such a strong media profile in a major legal role like that, well, it brings scrutiny, potential influence of public narratives on legal stuff. It's a dynamic we're seeing more often, actually.
Right. Okay. Now, turning to social movements. May Day protests, they've been ongoing across the U.S.,
Yeah, still happening.
and it seems like a few key issues are driving them. Labor rights, immigration policies, and those recent federal layoffs we heard about.
Uh-huh.
Big cities like LA, Chicago, New York saw significant turnout. What does this tell us about the current mood?
Well, I mean, these protests are a pretty visible sign of some underlying anxieties, wouldn't you say?
Hmm.
Social, economic.
Sure.
The fact that different concerns are converging: labor, immigration, job security, it suggests a pretty broad sense of unease. People want policy changes.
Yeah,
The turnout in big cities shows these aren't just isolated issues.
makes sense. Okay, finally, let's look at the markets. Friday, the day after these reports, the stock market actually closed higher.
Yeah, it did.
The reported reason, the Fed keeping interest rates steady.
Hmm.
So how are investors processing all this? The tariffs, the debt ceiling warnings?
It seems like the market's sort of weighing things up. You've got the potential tariff impact on one side, but maybe the stability from the Fed's steady hand on the other.
A balancing act.
Exactly.
Mm.
And we saw some interesting individual stock moves too, right?
Yeah.
Disney up, Alphabet down. It shows company specifics still really matter, even with all this big picture news swirling around.
So as we've seen, these headlines, they might seem separate, but they're really interconnected, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Economic warnings about debt can definitely sway trade policy, market reactions, and then the political appointments, social movements. They reflect these deeper currents in society.
Precisely. And, this brings us to a final thought, something for you, the listener, to
Yeah.
consider. How might these national level events from the economy, trade, politics, protests, how might they ripple through and actually affect your own community, your financial situation in the next few months? What questions does all this raise for you personally?